Hi, good evening, everybody. And I'm saying good evening because we're in Scotland, and so we have the start of light evenings now, because of course this is April. And April is a very special time for uh, countries which have a strong Christian ethic, which the UK does. And so we want to think just a little bit about Easter and Ascension and so on, but particularly about Good Friday, because Good Friday has always traditionally been a day when you devote yourself to contemplation of those values that you feel most central. Well, the ones that I want to talk about today are, in fact, meditation. Now, I may have talked about this before, but I don't think that matters because we can do it in a slightly different way. I'm just going to do one thing, one form of meditation, and that's mindfulness meditation. So let us think about mindfulness then. What is that? Oh, yes, you probably have seen him, but there's Casper who's come to meditate with us. Quite right, Casper. It's exactly what you need to do. Now, in mindfulness meditation, it's a way of quietening the mind, and you do this through attention to the breathing. So what you do is you look at your breath, and you count one on the in breath, one, and then two on the out breath. So you're going 1, 2. And you want to count your numbers of breaths. So it's going to be 1, 2, and 1 for your first breath. Then 1, 2, 2 for your second breath. 1, 2, and then 3 for your third breath, and so on, up to 10, and then you start again. Now, what you're doing is with your attention on your breathing, the mind will slow down. It will change. If you look inside yourself, you will see that your mind is shooting all over the place. But if you're able to calm it down, then things become very different. So what does calming the mind down mean? Well, it means this, that you don't follow all your thoughts. So let's just have a look at this and think about it. It might be easier if you shut your eyes. So shut your eyes and look into your mind, and then you will see thoughts of various kinds come up. And these thoughts might be anything, and you tend then to latch onto them, and you follow the thoughts. Okay, open your eyes. And the following of thoughts destroys the balance of the mind. Why? Because these use a part of the system which creates mind for us in the brain, which are the egoic structures, that is, those which underpin our sense of I. So the method is going to be a breathing one, and the book, which I want you all to see and possibly buy, it's by Thich Nhat Hanh, and it's The Miracle of Mindfulness. And indeed, mindfulness is enormously miraculous. Now, with mindfulness, there is attention. So you pay attention to what you're doing. Let's say you decide to make a cup of tea. How do you make a cup of tea mindfully? Well, the first thing to do is to get the kettle mindfully. So you know you're holding the kettle handle, and then you put the kettle under the tap, and you turn the tap on. You know you're turning the tap on, and you know you're directing the water into the kettle. Then you turn the tap off, take the kettle, put the lid on it, and then plug it in to let it boil. So you are standing watching this, and you're knowing that you're standing watching the kettle. Then what you do when it's boiled is you take the boiled water in the kettle and you pour it into your cup in which you've already put a tea bag. So this then diffuses, or the tea diffuses out of the tea bag into the cup while you watch it. Then you, when it's diffused enough, you take the tea bag out. Now all this is done consciously. It's with the mind exactly on the task that you're doing, not on anything else. So there is no point in thinking about what you're going to do in the afternoon after you've made your tea. No, it's not like that. You've got to have a focused attention on the moment. And then this will go on, one hopes, throughout the day, but there'll be special periods when you will do just mindfulness meditation. Now let's see how you're going to do that. First thing is to sit, and sit balanced, and just relax everything. Balanced and relaxed. And then it's usually recommended that you look down about 6 feet in front of you. So you are hooding your eyes, in fact. Some people like to do their meditation looking at a blank wall. And again, you look down, you don't look directly at the wall. Because what comes in through your eyes is not what you're meditating on. So you sit and you cast your eyes down, as I've mentioned, and then you start breathing in a very measured way. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 4. And so on up to 10. When you reach 10, you then start again. Well, I mean, that sounds very easy. It's not actually, it's quite difficult, because all the time you're being mindful of your breathing, the ins and out of your breath, and you're remaining relaxed while you're doing it. Now, many people, of course, feel it's very easy, but it isn't, because you'll shift yourself about, or you'll follow thoughts. Oh gosh, yes, I have to go to the supermarket after this. I hope this meditation doesn't last too long, or things like that. No, it all has to go. So when you see a thought come up, don't link onto it, and don't be antagonist and say, nasty thought, go away. No, it's got its own reason for being there. So let it arise, manifest, and fall. And you are not interested in this process. You're only interested in keeping your meditation onto the breathing. And so you will do this then. 1, 2, 3. And when you get up to 9, you'll go 1, 2, and then 10. And you'll start again with 1, 2, and 1. And then 1, 2, 2, then 1, 2, and 3, then 1, 2, and 4, and so on up to 10, and you go on repeating this. And after you have done this for, say, a quarter of an hour, I wouldn't start with a quarter of an hour. I'd start with 5 minutes, first of all, to keep it going for 5 minutes. But remember that if you are committing yourself to the path of mindfulness, you have to be mindful during the day. So when you're not actually attending to something, the mind tends to go off on its own track, you bring it back to the present, and you make it gently in the present. Now, Thich Nhat Hanh suggests that you have days like this, and one of the reasons that we're doing this today is that, of course, the Christian religion has a day like this, and this is Good Friday. And in Good Friday, you spend your day in contemplation. Well, Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Buddhist, suggests that you have a day like this probably once a week, when you are particularly aimed at keeping the mind quiet and tranquil. In other words, being mindful. So when you get out of bed in the morning and your feet hit the ground, you then are grateful for being alive. Very important. Gratefulness is terribly important. And you then, if you're going to wash and dress first, or do your meditation first, you'll then go into, if you can do a full lotus, great. If you can do a half lotus, great. What's a lotus? It's with the both legs crossed. The half lotus is with one leg crossed. Or if you can't do that, I'm certainly too old now to do a full lotus. And there is, in fact, a cultural thing in this. People from India and the East, like Japanese, Philippines, and so on, have a different structure to their hips. And so doing a full lotus is much easier for them than it is for us. And so during this day, after your period of meditation, you will remain mindful all the time. And so you want to set up this day, feet out of bed, gratefulness, joy and happiness. Then go through what you're going to do that morning, either getting dressed or not getting dressed. And then you sit down in your meditation position, choose a room which is quiet, choose a chair which is comfortable and in which you can balance. And then probably it's helpful to have a timer. Begin with 5 minutes and extend this, and finally you'll extend it up to half an hour. Do your half an hour's meditation every day. And you are mindful of your breathing during the meditation. That's what it's about. And any thoughts which come up, you let go, so they arise, manifest, and fall, and you don't cling on to them, or you don't let them lead you by the nose into some long story about this or that. Then at the end of your meditation, you always say thank you for your life. Very important, that, because our life is something very special, and we have it, and so we are thankful for our lives. Then we get on with our day. But on these special days, you are extra mindful. Everything that you can remember is done with mindfulness. And so you don't go herring about the place. What you do is you walk mindfully. You talk to your friends mindfully. You eat and cook mindfully. So it is in fact a day of mindfulness, and one of those every week is recommended by Thich Nhat Hanh. Well, I suggest that you take Thich Nhat Hanh's book, buy it, The Miracle of Mindfulness, the classic guide, and I think you'll enjoy it, and you'll see that uh, the idea of a special day is absolutely in Thich Nhat Hanh very central to how we should run our lives. Well, there you are. There's a nice introduction to meditation and to mindfulness. Very important. Do practice it and see if it suits you. Casper obviously thinks it suits him because he's still on my knee and breathing very restfully and mindfully. In fact, if I didn't know better, I'd think he was asleep. So have a good time practicing that. You'll find most of the answers to your questions in Thich Nhat Hanh, but if I can do anything to help at all, I'd be pleased to do it. And remember why you're doing it, because it makes you more effective, more efficient, and a much nicer person to be with. Okay, thanks very much. See you next time.